one, don't do that. This was another Thursday in April. I was out shopping. It seems like I did a lot of shopping in the supermarket lately. Oh, how do I love you? I can't count the ways. Now, was that a strange thing to say with no one else there? Nope. I was looking longingly at a package of chocolate cookies. And how do I love thee, my dear? A blueberry pie was also the subject of my attention. I knew I had to eat before I went shopping to kill the hunger pains I suffered when looking at food, and I had eaten. But if I'd eaten enough to erase the hunger, it would have put 30 pounds on my waist. So I couldn't be sure how much territory I would gain by just snacking or not. When I started to speak in a high-pitched voice to the food, I became suspicious of my motives. Was I looking at the pies and the cookies to make myself remember they were not on my shopping list? Or was my mind slipping into the now forbidden territories? Instead of panicking, I passed the produce department, grabbing a stalk of celery as I hurried to the checkout counter on my way out. I had now some hope of getting out of there without gaining 10 pounds. Rushing to my truck, I got in and I started to chew the stalk of green stuff. Was this tactic going to save me? Well, I had my hopes. Now, as a safety measure, I went to the farmer's market down the street and got more green stuff. I was determined to pull myself together and not cave to the pastry department at the supermarket. After stuffing myself with raw broccoli and green onions, I went back in. The leather blinders I had gotten in the area riding stable that morning were nicely shined and oiled up. I knew people would start to look at me when I went through the door. Instead of being embarrassed and ashamed of my appliance, I did something a little different. One skinny guy started to stare, and there was a smirk forming on his lips. I showed him why I was wearing the line-of-sight thing. I pulled up my T-shirt and let him have a look at what I was hiding out there. Oh, well, that took care of old Skinny just right. The look of revulsion was clear on his expression. He was probably considering what it might be like for him to be that way. He started choking, and away he went on his way. No words were necessary. Anyway, I didn't have time to stop and gab with old Skinny. I had to hurry up and get the shopping done before the produce wore off. I had an emergency carrot in my back pocket just in case of any backsliding that might occur. Yes, I had to take desperate measures these days. My truck was only getting 10 miles a gallon because of the weight we were carrying, and it seemed to groan more going uphill. Also, I had to overflate the tires to a dangerous 75 pounds per square inch. Well, now, back at my farmhouse, I was safe from the supermarket pastries and sugar. Yes, it was back to living on the land for me. Hard work, fresh air. I had read about living naturally and decided to try it again. Having been born some time ago in an old shack in the same area, I sort of felt at home. This wasn't the same squalid place I was used to living in. For one thing, this place had some kerosene lamps and running water, a real modern hovel. And I hoped that I could grow to love it. The guy next door saw me making water in the bushes, like I always did. He said he had some females living with him, and he wished that I would go into the house at times like that. Well, the man did ask nice, so wanting to be a good neighbor, I said, okay. I figured if he had any tools, I could probably borrow them, and he might know how to grow some of the greens I would need. Also, he hadn't said what category the females were. A person never knew, when he was waging a war against food, where help might come from. Those girls over there just might know how to cook without getting fat. Also, I had heard that women had the patent rights on all food. The way I heard it was that many years ago, when they wanted to vote and couldn't, there was a compromise. Some judge, as a joke, gave them the right to control food. And the result of that was, if you crossed one of them, no soup for you, Jerry. Also, as food patent holders, they might know the secret of why I got fat. Just looking at the food. If the neighbor guy didn't have any tools and the girls wouldn't talk, I would go into the bushes if I saw fit. And I would see fit. Okay, now for a snack of old Wild West rustler grub. Well, let me see, what do I want to eat? I want 15 2-pound greasy burgers, 8 orders of salty French fries, and a 2-liter bottle of liquid sugar called Cola Pop. And as for dessert, well, would a small chocolate cake be considered excess? No, it would not. Not by me. And yes, let's see, a quart of nice thick whipped cream to go on that 5-pound cake would be nice. Well, that's what I wanted for a mid-morning snack, but no, I didn't indulge myself. I cut that order down to 1/3 of that much. It was a meager repast, but lately I've been ripping out all my pants when I sat down. I was getting so embarrassing for that to happen, I tell you. It would happen when I was at a job interview or on the street, and it was annoying to have to run from the cops and hear those names they call me. I got tired of people saying, pervert, fink, nuthead. You don't do that here, wise guy. Oh, yeah, hell, it was sad and getting worse all the time. I had to carry extra clothes in my truck at all times. When they got dirty, hell, I threw them away. I knew I'd have to buy another bigger size by the end of the week anyway, so why bother washing them? I had to give up my old dog for adoption. He had grown tired of me stepping on him. I couldn't see the floor, much less old Shep. That was one more low point in my life. Man, I loved that dog. But it was better to see him alive and not squashed than looking like a roadkill. And now maybe he could find forgetfulness in the arms of a child and be happy somewhere else. Something had to be done.